Morning, everyone. Maybe overkill, but why not? 2 commute videos in a row. I know. I was watching YouTube, but I just thought, why not discuss my investing strategy, right? All I'm doing is driving to work anyway. I got an hour to kill, right? I'm not going to talk for an hour, but I'm already not halfway, but a third of a way to work. But you get what I'm saying. Let me close the window. So anyway, wanted to mention, like, my office days, they're pretty crazier than my normal every other day, but not by much. But yeah, my office days, I do have to get up at 3 a.m. In order to make the video, in order to leave early to get to the gym at work. So that's why you see my videos sometimes, at least the daily videos, sometimes you see them at 3:45, 4 o'clock. But that's why I have to get those videos out, before I have to leave the house by no later than 5 a.m. in order to get to the gym by 6, in order to finish, be at work by 7. So, that's my office days are crazy, and then I have to leave work and get to baseball. But anyway, enough complaining about that. What is my high yielding investing strategy, and why do you give a damn? Well, you may not give a damn, so nothing I can do on that aspect, but I figured I'd at least share what I'm doing, because sometimes I make these account update videos and I don't really have time to go into the details, right? I'm too busy explaining my positions, how they're doing, whatnot. But I just want to go through, like, what my particular strategy is, at least with my taxable high yield brokerage account. And right now, and again, anything could change at any time, but right now my strategy in short is to yield 40%. So I want to get 40% income annually. So obviously, I would take what I'm making for that month, times it by 12, and divide it by the total capital that I put in. And hopefully that's 40%. And if I can yield 40%, again, based on the numbers that I'm running, then I should be able to retire well before 10 years. So that is my goal. Now, is 40% reasonable? Like, is that even possible? Am I shooting for the stars? Am I out of my mind? Well, in my opinion, I do think it's reasonable. And it's 40%, yield on cost too. So it's 40% based on how much capital that I put in. So with my strategy, I'm not expecting massive capital gains, and at the same time, I'm trying not to have massive capital losses. So I'm basically trying to stay capital flat. And if I can stay capital flat, I will have no problem yielding 40%. Because what am I investing in? Well, let's talk about what I consider the high risk, high reward. Number one is Defiance. So Defiance has QQQY, they have JEPY, and they have IWMY. Between the three of them, they yield anywhere from 40% all the way up to 100%, right? IWMY, I think this last one was over 100%. Now, they work much differently. Their capital goes, their NAV depreciates much faster than you would expect on a normal dividend paying ETF, even YieldMax. So Defiance, the thing with those, you always should keep an amount, from the payment that they're giving you to reinvest. And the reason for that is because they are always going to pay you that massive distribution, which could be 40 to 100%, right? And if they don't, then obviously they're not doing what they were intended to do. but for the, since inception, that's exactly what they've been doing. Okay. So, and the problem with that is sometimes, some months they don't really do well, right? Because what they do is they sell puts on a daily basis, and if the market stays, we'll say flat or a little up or down, that's the perfect world. But if the market tanks massively, that's bad. If the market goes up massively in one day, that's also not good for the fund either. I mean, it's good for the day, it's a win, but you could get a correction the next day, which would hurt us. But the summary is, the Defiance funds are known to, they're not going to appreciate. I mean, that's a given. There's going to be months where they make more income than what they pay out. That is very possible, and it's happened already. I've showed that in my spreadsheets. But it's not going to be more often than not, and that's the issue. So knowing that and being okay with that, then you need to understand that you need to reinvest a portion of what you're getting back from them back into the fund. And as long as you do that, you can use, whatever you want, the remaining amount from what they're paying you to reinvest in something else or to live off of, right? So, these funds, they're not for everyone, because a lot of people, they have the mentality of, well, I don't want my capital to go down and I don't want to reinvest. So if that's the case, you don't want Defiance. Like you don't want QQQY. I'm not gonna say Defiance, because Defiance has other ETFs that do what you want, that could do exactly what I just said. But the three I'm talking about, IWMY, QQQY, JEPY, so those, they will always provide you a yield based on the current price of that high amount I spoke of. Again, JEPY is typically 40%, QQQY is around 50 to 60%, IWMY is around 70, all the way up to 100%. IWMY is crazy. But these funds are really good, and they boost my yield. They are my yield booster. They're the reason I can yield 40%. Do I reinvest enough money into them? I'd say so. Every ex-dividend day, I do try to buy. So far, I've been saving enough to buy at least 25 shares every single month. Some months I can't, which is okay. Then I buy 25 shares, so at least one or maybe two. But I've been doing that since basically I made a position in them, and it's been working out. Granted, yes, my capital is down, but I'm of the understanding I will never have a capital gain on that fund. I mean, again, you can't say never, because it's possible. Is it possible 12 months in a row they make more income than what they pay? Well, not really, because they're required to pay out, a certain percentage. But you get what I'm saying. Okay, let's just say 10 months they make more than what they pay, then yeah, I could have capital gains. It's possible, but it's very unlikely. So the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can use these funds, appropriately. So that's one fund. That's a high-risk fund. The other high-risk fund that I have is Ulti. Ulti is very risky, extremely risky. They basically are a YieldMax fund of funds that don't invest, well, they invest in some of the other funds, but they invest in very, very high implied volatility underlyings, such as Coinbase, such as Misty. But we're okay with those, but what about the others? What about Carvana or GameStop, or who are these other ones? I don't even know. Some crazy, risky underlyings that normally, to be honest, none of us would really invest in. But they're just doing options on those, typically in short time frames. Because a lot of these funds, they go in and they go out. And these fund managers have a lot of flexibility with Ulti, per the prospectus. So they can do that. They can get rid of one fund as fast as they enter it, which I appreciate and I enjoy. I think Ulti is not only the fund of funds, it's the fun fund. It is. But to me, it's fun because I I love options and I love high implied volatility options, but I don't want to allow myself to trade options on the high ones because I get out of control and I'll lose money. But I will invest in a fund of funds that does it, all right? Because I just want to see how they do, how they perform. And at the same time, guess what? They're going to pay out a massive, massive yield. But the risk is, again, just like Defiance, but even worse, their capital can depreciate because they're doing options on underlyings that some of them, to be honest, are shit, right? I mean, there's no other way to say it. You're really just in it for the implied volatility, you know, the high risk, high reward concept. So, but you hope when they're in it, it's not when it goes down. So yeah, if you don't know what Ulti is, take a look at the funds that they own. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, between Ulti and Defiance, to me, those are my highest risk, highest reward funds. And those help keep my yield above 40%. All right? Now, what about everything else? Well, YieldMax, they're basically yielding 40%. They're around like 30 to 40%. So in reality, if I keep a decent amount in YieldMax, I can have a steady balance of 30 to 40% yield based, you know, just on that alone. And the beauty of YieldMax is they're the fund of funds. They're the fund of all the YieldMax funds, right? So they're very balanced, and I feel very comfortable. I don't consider them. I consider them mid-risk. Again, these are mid-risk of the high yielders. But if you compare them to something like SCHD, of course YieldMax is high risk. I'm comparing it to my threshold in my account, which is different than other people's threshold, right? Some people, they look at YieldMax and they say, hell to the no, high risk, no thank you. Get me away from this fund. But me personally, I think it's a medium risk in the high yield world. So, you know, I treat YieldMax like that, and YieldMag too, but I don't own YieldMag personally. So those, you know, that's another booster. I still do own individual YieldMax funds, such as Nefli, such as Nvidia, such as AMZ and Phoebe. Now, why do I own them and not others? It's starting to get cold up in here. Because I believe their underlyings are more than safe. Not only more than safe, I believe their underlyings have a respectable implied volatility, which would always provide a decent premium. So, because believe it or not, like, believe me, I'm a huge Apple guy. I would love to invest in Apple. Their implied volatility is not good enough, you know, to make it worth it. So that's why I don't invest in Apple. Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, and Nvidia, you know, not only do I, you know, am I accepting those companies as a risk, but their implied volatility, it's pretty good. Like, it's not bad for considering how good of a company all of these are. So that's, you know, that's kind of how I look at the YieldMax funds. So, and what do these individuals yield? They all vary, right? So they're around like 30%ish too. You know, sometimes they're much higher. Sometimes Nvidia's above 100%, so that obviously boosts my yield. And the great thing about Nvidia, I have been up on capital for months. I mean, it's good and bad. The bad part is I can't invest in it because I don't average up on YieldMax funds. But the good part is I just let it ride, and you know, it's been doing very well. It's been yielding a respectable 50 to 100%, which is really good, and it's been boosting my income. It's been a huge player in my portfolio. Phoebe, Nefli, and AMZ fluctuate. AMZ not so much, but Phoebe and Nefli lately, they've been tanking, and I have an opportunity to average down. This happened to Nefli, you know, months ago. Usually it's around their earnings, and there's an opportunity for me to average down, and then guess what? They'll recover as they normally do, and then I'll be up on capital, and all I have to do is sit there and wait. Because when I'm up on capital, again, with these high yielding funds, then I'm not going to reinvest in them. I'm just going to let them do their job, which is pay me high distributions. So those are pretty much all of the high yielders, right? Oh yeah, and then there's Clip. I also own Clip. They're basically kind of what YieldMax, Clip, and I can't leave the other one out. FEPI. You know, well, Clip yields 50%. FEPI yields like 25%. But Clip, I consider, you know, they're probably mid. It could be mid to high risk. And the reason they're, I'll say mid to high risk, is they sell calls at the money. They don't sell calls slightly above the money. God, some of these people just drive like maniacs. You know, you're in that much of a rush. Like you go 5-10 over, and this guy's going like 20-30 passing me over. They're in that much of a rush to get to work. Is work that exciting? I mean, maybe they're going to the gym like me, so maybe they're pumped to go to the gym. Highly doubt it though. But yeah, in a rush to go nowhere. They'll be stuck at the same light like me. Anyway, what the heck was I saying? So yeah, so yeah, Clip, they also, their international exposure, that's simply how I keep it. Clip is my international exposure in my high yield dividend account. Yes, they sell calls at the money, which I wish they would go a little out of the money, but so be it. So I always have an understanding I'll have to average down a little on those as well. Not as much as some of the others, but at least they're going to yield me around 50%. FEPI has capital appreciation, and they pay a respectable 25% yield. 25% is below my 40%, but it's pretty damn close. So, you know, the fact that FEPI can not only give me 25% consistently, but some capital appreciation, it's a no-brainer. And I consider that almost mid to low risk, you know, in this account. And the reason it's not low risk is my low risk really is HCOW. And HCOW, what do? They invest in cows, which is an ETF that invests in cash cows. Cash cows meaning companies that have a whole crap load of cash, and they pay a dividend, and they can raise their dividend, and typically do at all, you know, all the time. So they sell calls on cows, and cows owns all of these dividend growers. So HCOW by far is my lowest paying, you know, ETF. It pays around 8%. That's ridiculously low compared to some of these others. However, I call it my booster. It's what boosts my account. It's going to have some capital appreciation. It's going to have the most capital appreciation out of all the ETFs. And at the same time, it's going to grow the dividend. So I love HCOW. And again, it's a newer fund, but to me, it's a secret. It's like a hidden gem. So I'm going to continue to build out my HCOW position. And honestly, if I can make it 10%, that'll be a beauty. But the problem is then my yield, my struggle to hit the 40% target is going to become a little harder. So again, it's all about that 40% number. And if in the end 40% is too aggressive and I'm finding myself doing too many high risk things, I'll lower it to 35, I'll lower it to 30 as needed, and then I'll adjust my, you know, expected retirement age and whatnot. But right now, I just feel that 40% is doable. So what else? What else do I do in my account? What else am I invested in? Again, I look at each ETF. They are each their own tool. And if you don't like the tool, move on, okay? So what else do I have? We talked about the high risk. We talked about the low risk. So all you're really left is the medium risk. Now, medium risk, which I consider them like, these are what keep me afloat. Without the medium risk items, I'm nothing, right? And who is this? This is the SVOLs of the world, right? SVOL. This is the SPY-I's of the world. This is the QQQI's of the world. This is now the SPY-T's of the world. Funds like that, you know, they'll pay you anywhere from 15 to 20%, and they're capital flat, or they could have capital appreciation. But they, no matter what, they don't take the big hits like the others. but they don't jump up big at the same time. But they will pay you that 15 to 20% annualized all of the time, and they are called Mr. Consistency. So without these mid-yielders, we are nothing. I am nothing, and I do greatly appreciate them because they are huge in my account. So again, if you don't know what they are, go check them out, go do the research, and let me know what you think. I feel like I'm missing some guys here, but maybe not. I know I didn't talk about the Round Hill funds because I'm on the fence with them. I only own 2 shares of each anyway, so I don't really count them as a true investment. Now it's hot in here. But yeah, they could be something really good. They pay weekly, so they could boost your weekly income. Should it actually work out, right? Should it be a really good fund? But again, time will tell. I'll do a better review on them at some point. I don't invest in Curve because I just don't, monthly calls. I could do that. I can't do weekly calls because there's too much involved. Monthly calls, anybody could do that. You just hit a button once a month, boom. So it's just, to me, those aren't managed. They're not like managed frequently that it's worth even the expense ratio. I get it, like the Tesla one, yeah, it's kind of doing better than Tesla, but they go way out of the money and they go a month out and it doesn't yield that much. It yields 20%, 25%. I don't know. I'm not a Curve fan, to be honest. I thought they were cool in the beginning. I thought they were a good offset to YieldMax, but to me, I'm at the point where they're not worth it. Like Tesla, to be honest, and this goes to the other part of my account now, I've decided to do options on my own. And right now I'm doing options on Tesla. Not Tesla stock, but Tesla ETF, TSLL. And the only reason is because I can afford multiple contracts. And the reason I want to be able to afford multiple contracts is in case I need to protect my position. So, if you think of Tesla, let's just say Tesla's $200. If I sell a contract, if I sell a put on Tesla, that's going to cost me $20,000. So, okay. And let's say I get assigned, all right, and Tesla goes to 170. I'm pretty much screwed. Like, it's going to be hard for me to sell calls at 200. I'm not going to get much money. So I just have to wait. Either wait or just accept my little yield on options premium from there. But, and the reason I have to wait is I don't have another $20,000 to sell another put to lower my average. But when I look at TSLL, they're priced at like $8 right now, $7, whatever it is. I can afford, because that's 800 a pop. If I use 10 G's for options, then I can afford 10 contracts or a little more of TSLL. And the beauty of that is, all right, I'll sell one put. Guess what? If that put gets destroyed, if the stock goes down, I'll sell another put, lower strike, lower my average, and I'll keep going. And let it keep going down, baby. Let it keep going down. I'll keep selling puts. Because the idea is, by the time, the idea is I won't hit the maximum amount of contracts I could sell if I do this right, before it recovers. So let's just say I get to 5 contracts and then Tesla starts recovering and then my average is okay enough to sell calls. So which, that completes what you call the wheel. You sell puts and then you sell calls and then you repeat. And that's all you do. And essentially you don't lose any capital. Sometimes you gain capital, but you try not to lose any capital in the process. And all you do is collect options premium. Now, why am I doing this? Well, number one, I like doing options. Number two, I think I could boost my yield up, which would help my 40% goal even better, right? Last month, for example, I think I yielded 49%, and it's a big thank you to my options premium that I did on my own. So, granted, it was an up and down month, to be honest, but we'll see. Overall, I think it was a good month, so I could have really bad months where I'll yield. I don't think I'll ever yield less than 40%, though. That's the thing. And we'll see in time. So far, my average yield annualized it's well above 100%. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know. It's been working out pretty good, so we'll see. We'll keep that as part of my journey. That's about 1/4 of my account at the moment. 1/4 of the right now it's like $50,000 I have. Maybe it's not 1/4. I don't know. Maybe it's 1/5. But we'll see. It is what it is. And again, the beauty of this sweating again. This weather's all over the place. The beauty of this is, if needed, and I say I sell puts on all $10,000 I have, and Tesla's still going down. If needed, I could dive into some of the other funds if I have to, and continue the protecting my average cost basis before this can turn around. And then when it turns around, I can put that money right back into where it was. So that's also the beauty of having the options portfolio along with the high yield portfolio. And the reason I'm not doing all options, I don't trust myself, to be honest. If I put myself behind the wheel on all of this, I will probably lose a lot of money. And I'm gonna be honest. No way. I'd rather keep 4/5 of the account or 80% of the account in the hands of the experts, and let them do their thing, and let them yield me an average of 40%. Again, that I'm responsible too, because I have to dollar cost average at the appropriate times. So that's a big responsibility on my part. But their responsibility is doing options and doing them right. And if they don't, then I get out. It's pretty simple. And again, my responsibility with the other 20% of the money is yield as much as I can, make as much money as I can. And keep in mind, it's hard to yield that much too, because I'm not using all of that 10,000 right away. Like, I'll sell puts on 1,000 or 2,000 for an entire week, and that 8,000 is just sitting there, right? So that could happen, because I'm not going to sell. Like, for example, when I started off, I didn't use all the money right away to sell puts, because obviously, I would lose. What if it keeps dropping? That's a terrible strategy. So that's why my yield, on the actual money is high, but my yield on the overall 10,000 that's sitting there, not so much. But so it's important to calculate the yield on the total money that you're using for your strategy as well. I don't know if that made any sense, but hopefully it did. All right, I'm tired of talking. Woo! I don't know if this video helped out anyone or not, but I tried my best to explain my thinking to my different strategies, while driving to work, going to the gym. Again, I'm almost there. Time to get pumped up, right? It's leg day, so I'm gonna do lunges across the entire gym a few times, and then I'm not gonna be able to walk. But that's the beauty of it, right? All right, so that's pretty much it. I think I covered. I know I left a few funds out, but whatever. You get the gist. My goal is 40% yield. That's it. 40% on my yield on cost. That's it. And if I can continue to do that, yes, I do it in a taxable. I covered this yesterday. Why isn't it taxable? Because you know why? Because my wife doesn't work. All right, we live off one income, and I may need to use this money at any point in time. Right now, I'm not, and I'm just reinvesting it. But I'm not worried about taxes because I modified my W-2, and took it from there. I modified the, you know what I mean, my federal. I added additional federal income tax to be taken away along with state, because of course, I'm in New Jersey. I always owe the state, so I typically never owe federal. But state is so unpredictable. But either way, I took a lot of money out each paycheck to go towards that in order to offset my dividend income along with YouTube income. Hopefully I picked the right number. If not, I'll modify it the following year, but we'll see. Anyway, that's all I got for today, guys. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a schlep on YouTube that you're watching for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's good stuff, maybe it's not. But I'm having fun doing it. So if you're having fun watching, then it's a good match. But yeah, like I said, do your own research, guys. This stuff is truly high risk. And if you don't need the income now for at all, for any reason, if you want to keep it in a retirement, that could be smart because you don't have to pay taxes on it. Or if you want to wait on the income funds because you'd rather just build out the growth since you don't need the income now, that's also a great strategy. Not gonna lie, it is. But everyone do their own thing. Do what fits, what's gonna better your life. Remember, you don't want to just leave everything for retirement. You want to live life a little now, right? Enjoy time with your family. Enjoy time with your friends. Enjoy your money, Enjoy some of your money. You bust your ass every single day. Enjoy some of it. Don't wait till you're 65, all right? Anyway, that's a video for another day, so let me not get into that. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm about to go to work. Make sure you guys go to the gym as well. If not, at least go take a walk, all right? Stay healthy. Enjoy your dividends in retirement if you're retired. If not, just stay healthy in general so you can bust your ass. Work as hard as you can to save up as much money as you can, to reinvest as much as you can so you can retire whenever you damn well please, all right? Again, I'm out of here, and have a great day. Later.